the thing this and be like, oh my god, it's me.
Good morning.
Bro.
I hear that.
Yes.
Back
People,
again.
yes,
back
we're
again. Favorite bunch.
Yes.
Back again.
I hope everyone's having a good week. You know, everyone's just having fun. You see the sun's been out and that, so hopefully you lot have been keeping your rule of 6 as well, you know. So
Yeah, man, stay in that bubble.
yeah, stay in that bubble, fam, that
I
social
know
bubble.
people have burst that bubble already. Not gonna
It's
lie.
alright. It's alright to be around. Obviously, like 20 other groups of 6, like, but obviously groups of 7, we don't allow that around here. Come on,
we don't do them things.
come on.
Don't know about you.
I'm
I
saying.
stick with the 7, fam.
Yeah.
Saying what rules are meant to be broken? Like,
One Boris. Is that what you're talking about?
rule breaker.
Boys don't even know what he's doing. You didn't
said-
see him on the TV the other day. He's got drawn out twice, you know.
Go to work.
People have told them, come and tell us what you think. He's just sitting there like
I saw. What's his name? Ed
Ed
Miliband.
Miliband, and then
He's like,
there's
tell
another
us. He's
guy.
like, tell us. He's just like,
Priti Patel.
Yeah.
She got asked. So if two families are walking down the road,
Yeah.
and they're two families of 4, and they stop in the middle of the street just to say hi to each other, is that against the law? And she said, no, it's mingling. And since the 1300s, mingling is the first time it's been like an offence since 1300s, which is mad. But they don't know what they're talking about, basically.
They don't, man.
I saw where she got grilled about if your neighbours, if you looked over at your neighbours and they've got 7 people in attendance, are you going to call the police on your neighbours? And she was like, well, it would be the right thing to do. But the reporter was like, no, but will you call the police? And eventually she got down to it, but you could tell she was really not trying to give that answer away.
None of them know what they're doing. It's this
Rattled,
Dominic Cummings guy, fam. He does what he wants, bruv.
Does what he wants, mate.
He's
Is he the one that's actually going to see his wife?
And then
does what he
his
wants.
parents, innit? His
Dominic
parents,
Cummings.
He does what he wants.
Man, drove up to the tune, fam. He said, like, bun everything else, bun COVID. I can
Whose
do what I
house?
want.
DC's house.
So stupid. But yeah, man. So, do you know what? I've been struggling for film titles and everything. Yeah. I struggle sometimes. You know.
Sean doesn't struggle. That's not in his vocabulary.
Wouldn't associate that word with Sean.
Anyway, as I was saying before, I was really interrupted. So I've been trying to find out. You lot are dumb. I've been trying to find out some, Netflix like films and series, and I've been struggling in it. So like the other day, I come across this film called Cuties.
Oh
it's a
yes.
film.
Do you know what?
Yeah, it's a film.
I've seen. Yeah, I've seen the trailer. And
Yeah.
Now that
So-
you said that, I know the concept. Yeah. Go
Like
ahead.
with the
Little youths and
I've
that.
heard about it. I didn't really look into it.
Yeah.
As soon as I heard that, I just said I don't want to really. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, so
Can't
to
get
be honest,
cancelled.
Yeah, so it's one of those ones where it's fair to say that obviously none of us have watched it.
No.
I definitely haven't watched it because I don't think I can bring myself to watch it, especially from what I've heard. But I think it had a lot of controversy, however you want to say it. It had a lot about it since the poster that came out. It had girls in very sexual these young girls in very sexual positions in posing in like a 2-piece, almost like they was on stage, innit?
Oh, go on,
And I looked at the trailer as well, and you've got them booty popping on the stage, doing all this gyrating on the floor and things.
No.
And
No,
it is
we
very
don't
mad.
deal with them things right now.
Now you've had a lot of, you've rightly so. You got the director had a lot of backlash from it,
Of course.
and because of that now. Obviously, she's come out and she's basically said. So her name is Mimouna Decore, and she's from like Senegal, innit? But obviously lives in France. So this is a French film.
She should know better.
But what she's saying is that this film was basically what her own account for like experiences that she's been through. And also, she's trying to shine a light on how the world sexualizes young girls nowadays. Do you know what I mean? Which I understand. Obviously, I can't go too much into it because I haven't watched the film.
Yeah.
But we can always talk about the whole sexualizing of young girls and even young boys into their society. So, like, what do you lot think of just that in general?
I just think it's disgusting, but I think it's something that has been going on since the beginning of time. It's just that it's just been very secret. But now things that used to be in the dark and in the secret, it's almost like it's becoming normal now.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, even, I don't know, I don't really want to go down the tangent of conspiracies and stuff like that, but there's this whole thing of, you know, leaders and that being involved with the sexualization of young kids and little girls and little boys likewise. Like, for example, do you know what? Was it Prince Philip? Prince Andrew, that's the one that he got done. He's a paedophile, but we're not hearing about it. Do you know what I mean? So it's usually within that ring of, you know, well, from the information that we have, is usually in that ring of, you know, the leaders of the world and people in positions of power, etc. Look at what's his name again? Epstein.
Yeah.
Look at that, and then the lady that's involved with it, I forgot her name. It's so bad of me. What's her name again?
Clinton.
Pardon?
I swear Hillary Clinton was involved in it as well.
Oh, was she?
Was it Hillary Clinton?
I heard certain.
Do you know,
she was involved in a way. She was involved in some
way. Hillary, I heard that. I read that somewhere.
Yeah. But it's wild. Do you know what I think? Actually, in fact, you.
I was gonna say that just back off of what Dan said as well. Like, there's a lot of child trafficking that goes on as well, which is another element of that. You know, sexualizing children and things like that. Because you know, there was a post maybe about a month ago where it was talking about some of these big companies. They advertise like storage cabinets for a particular price. I'm sorry, I'm just quoting it like this. This whole, I can't remember all the finer details of it, but they're advertising these storage cabinets for like 15 grand, and realistically, what you're actually doing is you're buying like a child online.
Yeah. Do you know what? Do you know what? Do you know there's actually a society? It's a part of, I forgot what it's called. There's a guy. Obviously, I work in construction, innit?
Yeah.
And I was talking to one of the labourers there, and he was telling me about this messed up organisation. And I forgot, for the life of me, I forgot what it's called. But what they do is they prey. They're men. It's a society for men, but they prey on little boys. But it's like, it's a society that's accepted, if that makes sense. Like, it's actually like registered. People know about it. So when you hear about that, you know what these people do. Yeah. Let me see if I can find the name. What? I can't remember.
But it's
messed. When he was telling me, I was like, whoa.
But again, it goes to show that, you know, there's so much stuff that goes on, and especially it's disgusing, you know, when it comes to sexualizing children, like whether it's girls or little boys, or, you know.
I don't know what like when you think about the cases that are happening in the world right now. England, yes, but even like places abroad where it's more prominent. Yeah. You know, you go to Asia. Yeah. They're just raping off little girls. They're just raping off women in general. Yeah. You know, you go to different places, they're raping little boys. Yep. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's happening underneath our nose. We don't even know about it. Do you know what I mean? It's so like, it's such, you know, like a taboo. Yeah. To not talk about it, but it's happening on a regular basis. Yeah. When you kind of, okay, like I've had exposure to sort of, I have to be careful now because of safeguarding and stuff, but I've had exposure to like social work and stuff like that. So I used to work as I used to work in a creche for like family group conferences and stuff. But some of the cases that you would hear in those situations, you think to yourself, do you know what? If you never knew about the situation today, it would never cross your mind to think that something like that would happen in this world. Do you know what I mean? Especially on your own front doorstep. You get what I'm saying? Some of the abuse that young boys and young girls are getting. Do you get what I'm saying? Like there's certain dons that are, you know, on the road and stuff, and you think, oh yeah, this is a big bad man and whatever. They've had experiences. They've been molested when they're young, and that's what makes them go off the rails. Do you know what I mean? And that's why they get so aggressive with certain situations. And you just think to yourself, well, you know what I say anyway, the world is tapped. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's like, what drives you, what makes you think it's okay to touch a child, let alone anyone without their consent? What makes you think they're so innocent?
Exactly that. Do you know what it is as well? And obviously you three ain't got kids in it, so it's a thing of, for me, you lot know I've got kids. Everyone knows I've got kids in it. So
course,
it's like when I hear things like this, especially more so now. I'm not, obviously, it happens to little boys as well as little girls, but more so now that I've got a daughter as well, a young daughter. Bro, it scares me. It scares me so much because I look at my daughter, and for me, she's like the most precious thing under the sun, innit?
She is. Yeah.
So for me, knowing that big grown men and even women are doing things, sexual things to little girls, little boys, bro, it like right now I'm talking, my belly's turning.
Bruv, me too,
it makes me
fam.
feel sick, bro. How can a big grown ass person be attracted to a kid in that way?
They say it's a mental health thing, but
see, that's where it gets a bit techie because I don't know, man. I think I don't agree.
It has to. Like, you think it's a it's like obviously mental health.
Sorry, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Do you think do you think that you're born with something in you? Okay, cool. So
careful how you phrase this now.
Yeah. I'm just thinking wisely. So okay, let me just stick to what we're talking about. So in terms of sexualizing children and all that, do you think that people are born with something in them that makes them attracted to kids?
No.
What do you think?
What happens? I think. Sorry, go on.
No, go ahead.
I think what happens is sometimes those people are usually troubled themselves, and they can't separate. Okay, so a lot of paedophiles, from just like researching that, some of them have been molested at a young age, so they can't separate. They can't separate being young in their adult form. Like that's what they like.
But so then you see how you said that they can't separate. I think that's something in the mind where they're not able to function properly, properly, and that's why I feel that it's a mental health. It is a mental illness, but one that because they try to say. And again, I'm going to try and be careful. You know what I mean? So,
see, this is such a touchy subject.
So sometimes, obviously, like there are things that happen that when mental illness is involved, they write off the accountability. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like this is one of those that you can't write off that accountability. No, you can't because like it has to be a very severe case that this person doesn't even know what they're doing in day-to-day life, like that they're completely out of it. Do you know what I mean? But other than that,
let me ask you another question.
Go on then.
Let me ask you another question. Okay, and I mean, like, again, it can be looked at. There could be a number of arguments for this, innit? So let's just say, for instance, God forbid, not God forbid, because it hasn't happened. None of us have been through any.
No. Is this wood? You reckon?
I don't know.
Let's just touch wood, innit?
Oh, I think it is. Touch wood, that
all you listeners touch wood.
No one close to us. Our children, when you guys have kids, your children, our cousins, that this kind of stuff ever happens to them. It hasn't happened to us. And we thank God that we wasn't exposed. We thank our parents that we wasn't exposed to that kind of.
100.
Do you know what I'm saying? But let's just say, for instance, one of us was exposed to that, and it did happen to one of us. Wouldn't that then? Because I think about this not all the time, but when we talk about these kind of things, I think about this. As someone that's been, exposed to that, it's happened. Like you've been molested as a child or whatever. You've been through certain things. In turn, would that not make you want to grow up to then raise awareness or to help other people instead of turning the other way? Would that not make you
2 seconds?
No, go for it then.
2 seconds.
Yeah, I think but you go.
Yeah. I think it's a double-edged sword in a sense where, unfortunately, I do know people who have been molested by family members, and I do know people who have been raped by family members and just people who they've trusted, and you can't even. It has two effects on people, right? Based on what I've observed, you can grow up and it's not so much raise awareness, because sometimes people don't like others to know that has happened to them. It's something very deep, dark and secret. They want to forget about it. It's not something they want to relive every day So
Yeah.
and when you're advocating for it and raising awareness, you have to live through that truth.
Again.
You get what I'm
You
saying?
have to go
Again
through
and
it
again
again.
and again. And that causes a lot of psychological damage to what I know personally through my own friends who are females.
I
Do you
understand, yeah, I
and
get
then
that.
the other side is that when it flips on its head, and you know you become they become paedophiles. It's that the damage is so deep that they've just been messed up. They've been screwed up psychologically, so they think it's okay when it's not. But the reality is that they know it's not okay, because when they get called out and when they get caught, it's like,
know.
I didn't do that, or
Yeah, they know
I
it's
wasn't
wrong,
going to do that. They know
Yeah.
it's wrong, but it's almost like they can't help it. It's like a and this is not justification for them. I think it's wrong. I think it's disgusting. But it's almost like somebody that's addicted to drugs. It's almost like a real alcoholic that if they don't have an alcoholic drink, they're going to start drinking something with alcohol in, because they need to get their fix of alcohol. They'll start drinking, I don't know, what's it? What do you call it? Hand sanitizer and stuff like that. There's people that are really have an alcohol addiction.
Or like, was it hooch and things like that?
Yeah, stuff like that. Do you know what I mean?
Like, yeah, certain alcohol that's just something.
Something, so they can keep their fix going. So, although you know you can, some people can argue, okay, yeah, it's a mental health issue. It's a mental health issue, but if you're getting called out about it and you know it's wrong, then you know right from wrong. So you know what you're doing is wrong. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
This is exactly what I'm saying, because it's like, if you can, as you said, like you can say, oh, this is right, this is wrong. Then again, you have a sense of right or wrong. You should be held accountable for what you did.
100%.
Obviously, if the person is, you can see they're clearly struggling with what's right and what's wrong. They're so deep, the trauma is so deeply rooted
And
that
they're
they don't know.
conflicted,
Then obviously as a parent, you're obviously gonna think, nah, they need to, you know, get sentenced, this and that,
on the flip side as well, there are some people that they get the thoughts, they don't act on it, they
Yeah.
get the thoughts and they go to someone like a psychologist or a doctor, and from what I'm aware of, there is some sort of medication to sort of suppress those feelings.
was it depressants basically?
I don't
Or
know
is
if it's
that what
depressants, but it kills that desire to want to carry out the act that you have in your mind.
I think that's
Yeah.
mad, fam.
That's
mad.
I think it's disgusting.
Yeah.
But
It's
for me, like I'd rather, and I'm not saying that I agree, but
you'd
I'd
rather
rather
that-
if you have the thoughts, I'd rather you go and try and get help.
Get something,
so
yeah.
you kill it because you know that it's wrong,
Instead of carrying
rather
through
than
with whatever.
going through with it, because you're ruining the next generation.
But even still, man. But even still, both are just mad.
Yeah, you can't have those thoughts.
They-
It's wrong. It's like when I see. It's like when we were younger. Remember, we've been exposed to this our whole lives. When we were young, you see certain girls in school. They're going out with a man that's driving cars, but you're 15,
Well,
16.
All right, hold on, what's it?
Yeah,
have you
I've
got
got
anything
a
else
point to say. Just before you go into that, because I think we have to also point out that, you know, a lot of it's to do with an imbalance that they have sometimes within their mind, because when it comes to mental health, a lot of it is about having. It's all about capacity. Like do you have the mental capacity to understand what you're doing or why you're doing it. And like you went back, like you said, a lot of them do it and then they don't realize that they've either done it or they know that it's wrong, and then afterwards it's like they're remorseful for it, but they weren't remorseful for it prior to the act of doing it. So I think for me, I think it is a mental health thing. It is something that you know, whether they've gone through their own trauma and it's just psychologically messed them up, because a lot of, when it comes to mental health, a lot of things are to do with, you know, some people, when people suffer with certain mental health conditions, it's because like the serotonin in their brain has been depleted, and that can come through people smoking too many different types of drugs, or
Wait, educate me quick. What's serotonin?
Serotonin is like it's the chemical in your brain that brings you happiness.
Okay.
So you have to. So serotonin can be fueled by like, say, like even like gym, for example.
Yeah, okay.
Something that gives you that positive endorphins to kind of like
Okay.
make you feel good about things.
I got you.
So, and even foods, things like all different types of stuff. So if you deplete the serotonin in your brain, that's how you can develop things like psychosis and all the rest of that. Now, that's why it's.
Getting a lesson, boys.
So a lot of people have gone through so many traumatic situations, whether they've been molested when they were younger by people that they really, you know, they saw as their, you know, their protectors, like their parents or whoever it was, that things like the serotonin in their minds and things like that has been depleted, and then they become unhappy, or they try to fulfill that happiness through things that, you know, maybe they thought to themselves, oh, well, if my parents is doing this to me and my parents meant to love me, then maybe I should do that to other kids, because that's the warped,
disgusting cycle, man.
Cycle. It's a catalyst. It just becomes this thing that just,
of course,
constantly goes forward. But back to what you were saying about the
I was just gonna add to your point,
go on.
In terms of, you know,
I'll say something.
yeah, just in terms of you know,
I love it, lads.
But you know when you were saying that oh gosh, goodness, it's gonna make me forget now.
You're talking about like girl, like when we was younger, and because he. Oh, you're talking about.
No, I was gonna add a point. It's like when they do something because it makes them feel good, and afterwards they realize that it's bad. Sometimes they panic, which is why they end up, a lot of molested or rape victims end up being murdered.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? Because they panic, they think, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have done that. I don't want them to get away. I'm going to kill them. For example, that, what's their names? Jessica and Holly. Remember them back in the day?
Ian Huntley.
Yeah, Ian Huntley, but he was the caretaker in school. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, you have to be careful, and that's another thing, you have to be careful about who you let around your children as well. You know, one thing I remember,
you can
my
only
mum.
be so careful as well, man.
Oh, bro, I don't even want to talk about it no more.
So just hold on. So actually, I'll do it.
Clap.
Bro, I'll make you something. Bro, am I moving mad?
Yeah. You trying to run it now?
Not yet.